Hare Krishna. Somebody can please lead the invocation prayers, please.
Hare Krishna. I will do it, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjali Salakya Chakshur Sanmilatam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Tatati Swada Padantikam Vandeham Sri Gurave Sri Yuta Pada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnava Sri Rupam Sagarachitam Saga Gana Raghunathavitam Tamsa Jivam Satavaitam Savadutam Savadutam Parajane Satchidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Saga Jnana Lalita Sri Vishavistam Cha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrisavanu Suture Devi Pranam Amihari Priya Vanchakalpatil Vanchakalpatarvyasya Kripa Sandubhya Yuvasya Patitana Pavan Vyo Vaishnavi Vyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaurav Bhakta Gurita Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. So today we will cover Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 9, and we'll finish Chapter 9 from verse 29 onwards. We'll have a shorter and an easier placed class today. We will start the next Chapter 10 at our next class instead of trying to rush through today and then tomorrow and again. But before that, let's you all explain one or more things and ask one or more questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I can start. First of all,
Sorry, I was talking without switching on. With your permission, I want to say something, Charlie.
Okay.
Prabhuji, last time, the endeavor which you have enabled by these two questions, when I listened and jotted down my realization, I felt these two things. One is it is very relevant for today's life, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I really felt that it is thought-provoking questions that these two are revealing. So I will, although I have jotted down, one I will reveal, I will read what I have realized. The second one, Charlie can do that. The first question is, examine the difference between a pure devotee and an ordinary man accumulating wealth. A pure devotee has no attraction to wealth, for he thinks it belongs to the Lord. Hence, he offers everything to the service of the Lord, which includes his children, family, and wealth. The source that he puts in effort to accumulate, he does it with Krishna consciousness. For a devotee, it's like removal of venomous teeth from poisonous snake. An ordinary man accumulates wealth for his personal sense enjoyment, which becomes a source of anxiety and lamentation. How to protect the wealth, family, and compete with others with the ego. They live with the misery of life, the concept of me, mine, and due to excessive attachment, and not with the Lord. Hare Krishna. The second point, I would leave it to Swami. Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Right.
Prabhu, I won't discuss the second point. Somebody else can. What really appealed to me, I want to discuss that. That is the reciprocation, Prabhu. So the Lord reciprocates in different ways to different devotees. For demigods, the Lord is not fully satisfied because they are devotees, but they are sakam devotees who have the material gains for themselves, for their own sense enjoyment in mind. Whereas pure devotees show mercy to all living beings because they want to help the living beings get out of this material world. So the Lord is pleased and satisfied by them. And he shows his mercy by himself descending or by sending bona fide representatives. Sri Prabhupada is one of them. And then for the non-devotees, he is not, one more thing I want to add, pure devotees, because they do not act for their own sense gratification at all, and it's only in terms of the Lord's desire. The non-devotees, the Lord is not available to them. They have already revolted against the Lord, and they have to, because of that, they have to perpetually undergo the reactions of their own activities.
Okay. Different reciprocations. Okay, very good. Rest of you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hell is another name for a factory, Prabhuji, as the owners, they don't have God fear, and they accumulate wealth and they suffer from insomnia because they have. And all these people who are against the principles of devotional service are destined to rotate in the material world without fail, Prabhuji.
Okay. Very good. Factory, another name is hell. Prabhupada said there is no need for all these factories. You can get a small cow, get milk from the cow, get a small piece of land, grow your fruits and vegetables, and live a simple life. Okay, very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Right.
See, the more you concentrate on service, you will not be in the bodily concept. So miseries of life will be gradually, you can reduce the miseries.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, the more you live as a service, then there's no reactions. Okay, very good.
Prabhuji, generating such a factory for sense gratification and occupied 24 hours, their mind is always speculative and they suffer from not only insomnia but also diseases. They suffer, rot, and rotate in the material world of birth and death, after birth, after death. Hence, the factory is called hell. Hare Krishna.
Okay, very good. Yeah, there are many references about many references in Srimad Bhagavatam about factories and all these machineries and everything. They are not required. Prabhupada said, live a simple life. Okay, very good. Any questions? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. While reading the purports, I came across this one important realization. Can I just read it, Prabhu?
Yeah.
This is from 12, text 12. Now a question arises, if the Lord is sitting in the heart of the non-devotees, why are they not moved to become devotees? It may be answered that the stubborn non-devotees are like barren land or alkaline field where no agricultural activities can be successful. As part and parcel of the Lord, every individual living entity has a minute quantity of independence, and by misuse of this minute independence, the non-devotees commit offense after offense, and both the Lord and his pure devotees engaged in missionary work. As a result of such act, they become as barren as the alkaline field where there is no strength to produce.
Very good. Very good point. Yeah, the misuse of the free will. So the Lord does not interfere with our free will, and the jiva under the influence of ignorance acts in self-defeating ways. Okay, very good. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, can you? We don't hear any sound.
Because I'm not talking.
Oh,
I was waiting for somebody to ask any questions. Okay, let's start Canto 3, Chapter 9, verse number 29 onwards. So just the context and recap. We discussed last class about Brahmaji's prayers. I'd like to go back to verse number 25 that we discussed last class on Brahmaji praying to wake up the Lord. So this 3.9.25 verse, the pujaris chant this exact same verse every day to wake up the Lord. There are other mantras also. This is one of the mantra which the pujaris chant every day to wake up the Lord, or whenever. I mean, the Lord sleeps multiple times and gets woken up multiple times. So in terms of the sequence, when you have to put the Lord to bed and when you have to wake up the Lord. So first you wake up the Guru Maharaj. And it is Guru Maharaj who will wake up Gopinath. So I have material bodies and my material body is incompatible to worshipping Gopinath. So how is it possible for me to worship the Transcendental Lord? So it is the spiritual master who is capable to worship the Lord, and spiritual master purifies the material contaminations for the disciple and allows the disciple to worship by the spiritual master's mercy. So to wake up Gopinath, first you have to wake up the spiritual master, and spiritual master will wake up Gopinath. So we wake up Gopinath on behalf of spiritual master. And while putting Gopinath to bed end of the day, or sometimes in the middle of the day as well, the sequence is that first you put Gopinath to rest, and spiritual master is the last to go to rest. And in these prayers, Brahmaji prayed to the Lord to ask for service, and now the Lord will respond to Brahmaji. Just as our last class was easy going on Brahmaji's prayers, similarly, our today's class is also easy pace. The purports are also very small. Some don't have purports. We'll read some of the purports, but again, it's pretty straightforward conversation between the Lord and Brahmaji. So we are on part 2, which is verses 29 to 44. Title is The Supreme Lord's Reply to Brahmaji. And this part 2, you can have its 3 subsections or 3 themes. It's not subsections, but 3 themes. Verses 29 to 33 is the first subsection, and the title is Follow Penance and Devotion to See Everything in Relation to Me. So each of these verses that the Lord is speaking are related to each of Brahmaji's prayers. Shalini, verse 29 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 29, translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then said, O Brahma, O depth of Vedic wisdom, be neither depressed nor anxious about the execution of creation. What are you begging from me? What you are begging from me has already been granted before. Hare Krishna.
So Srila Prabhupada says, anyone authorized by the Lord is already blessed. But we should not be puffed up. Just as Brahmaji prayed that how Brahmaji should not have ego. Similarly, we should never take credit for whatever services we do, and we should still be ready to glorify Guru and Gauranga. Hence, every day we say all glories to Guru and Gauranga. This is the mood we should always have. Shalini, read 29 purport.
Hare Krishna. Any person authorized by either the Lord or by his bona fide representative is already blessed, as is the work entrusted to him. Of course, the person entrusted with such a responsibility should always be aware of his incapability and must always look for the mercy of the Lord for the successful execution of his duty. One should not be puffed up because he is entrusted with certain executive work. Fortunate is he who is so entrusted, and if he is always fixed in the sense of being subordinate to the will of the Supreme, he is sure to come out successful in the discharge of his work. Arjuna was entrusted with the work of fighting on the battle of Kurukshetra, and before he was so entrusted, the Lord had already arranged for his victory. But Arjuna, as always conscious of his position as subordinate to the Lord, and thus he accepted him as the supreme guide in his responsibility. Anyone who takes pride in doing responsible work but does not give credit to the Supreme Lord is certainly falsely proud and cannot execute anything nicely. Brahma and persons in the line of disciplic succession who follow in his footsteps are always successful in the discharge of loving transcendental service to the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, we should not become proud. Rather, we should be thankful that we got the opportunity for services. Okay. Radha Shakti, verse number 30, translation.
Verse number 30. O Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation. Follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. By these actions, you will be able to understand everything from within your heart.
Continue to do penance, and you will receive my favor. So that is the title of this subsection, that follow penance and devotion. So Brahmaji did devotional penance, not dry penance. We discussed last time that Brahmaji's penance is not dry because it is on the direct instruction of the Lord, and it pleased the Lord. So it is devotional penance and is bhakti yoga. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport quotes Bhagavad Gita 10.10 that this guidance is available to bhakti yogis from Paramatma and the spiritual master. But those depending on themselves, it is very difficult. And hence this facility is not given or is not available for those who are on the Gyan Yoga path. Radha Shakti, read purport. I'm hoping that you can move away from the background noise that is there at your place.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes. The mercy the Lord bestows upon a particular person engaged in executing the responsible work entrusted unto him is beyond imagination. But his mercy is received due to our penance and perseverance in executing devotional service. Brahma was entrusted with work of creating the planetary systems. The Lord instructed him that when he meditated, he would very easily know where and how the planetary systems must be arranged. The directions were to come from within, and there was no necessity for anxiety in that task. Such instructions of Buddhi Yoga are directly imparted by the Lord from within, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10.10.
Anybody has memorized 10.10 or anybody would like to recite?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tesam Satatam Yukta Nam Pachite Priti Purvakam Dadami Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayanti Te.
Very good. Super excellent recitation. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Okay.
I had a question. Lord Brahma is also a demigod, correct?
Correct.
So that means he's also not, he's a pure devotee, but he also has some material desires, Prabhu?
So Brahmaji does not have material desire. Brahmaji is definitely a pure devotee. So pure devotee will not have material desires. Other demigods, so the verse that Shalini was reading and answering a couple of points, which was from 3.9.12, that demigods are Sakam devotees. So it's rest of the demigods except Brahmaji. Brahmaji is a demigod, but Brahmaji is a pure devotee. So Brahmaji does not fall in the category of Sakam devotees. Brahmaji is a demigod, but he is not in Sakam devotee, but he is a pure devotee.
Prabhu, then why is he not in Goloka Vrindavan and he's in Brahmalok, who is, he's subjected to birth and death, Prabhu?
So he is at the Jiva Tattva level, and he's been given the service to do the secondary creation and manage the universe. So it's a service given to a Jiva. So pure devotees that are not always in spiritual work. I mean, Srila Prabhupada was here. Prabhupada has always been a pure devotee, but he is in the material world. Forget Brahmaji's Brahmaloka, which is a little purer planet compared to Earth. But Prabhupada was here. So pure devotees don't have to be always in Goloka Vrindavan. And if you read Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj, again a pure devotee and a Mahajan, right now Prahlad Maharaj is in hell. Not because he is suffering, but Prahlad Maharaj said, I want to go and help all those suffering souls to get them out of their misery. And if ordinary pure devotees or ordinary individuals go to hell to preach, it is very difficult because the conditions in hellish planets, spirituality is next to not being there. Therefore, you need somebody very elevated pure devotee and a Mahajan like Prahlad Maharaj to be there. So it's not a black and white answer that if you meet certain criteria, you have to be in Goloka Vrindavan. No, there are so many factors to determine who is where, who is doing what. Shalini?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I want to see. I read chapter 10 also, in which 17, Brahmaji is incarnation of mode of action in the matter of creation. Brahmaji is like the Lord in creativity. So how do you link with that? Brahmaji is what you said, a demigod. So how do we relate that?
it's a fact that demigod category applies to Brahmaji. He's a demigod and he's in charge of the mode of passion.
Passion.
He's in charge. He's a guna avatar. So it's a fact. Does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Gopal Prabhu, verse 31, 32 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 31 translation. O Brahma, when you are absorbed in devotional service, in the course of your creative activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe. And you will see that you yourself, the universe, and the living entities are all in me. Text 32 translation. You will see me in all living entities as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. Hare Krishna.
Anybody remembers a similar verse from Bhagavad Gita, reading the verses that we just read? What did these two verses say, 31 and 32?
You can see me in every creation in the universe.
Okay, very good. Correct. So do you remember a similar Bhagavad Gita verse explaining almost same wording? Anybody?
Chapter 14. No?
Chapter 14, Prabhu.
Okay, what is chapter 14? What verse? Do you remember the verse? It's not in chapter 14, but somebody wants to read Bhagavad Gita 6.29.
Yes, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. 6.29. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the Supreme Lord, everywhere. Hare Krishna.
Isn't it identical to what the Bhagavatam verse we read, 31, 32?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Yeah, so this verse 31 is identical to 6.29 verse from Bhagavad Gita, that you will see everything in me and in relation with me. So Brahmaji had also prayed that while he does the creation, that I may be entangled in the mode of passion. Therefore, Brahmaji is saying that I should not forget you, my Lord. Therefore, Lord is responding here. Lord is saying that by your complete absorption in devotional service during the creative activities, the two things will happen. That first, you will see me in you, in the universe and in the living entities. Plus the second point, you will see yourself, the universe and all living entities in me. Only then you will be free from illusion. All this can be understood only by devotees. The Vraja pastimes can be understood only by pure devotees, meaning Brahmaji could also understand the confidential Vraja pastimes. Gopal Prabhu, 31, 32 purports.
Hare Krishna. 31 purport. It is cited herein that by the Lord that during his daytime Brahma would see him as Lord Sri Krishna. He would appreciate how the Lord expanded himself into all the khals during his childhood at Vrindavana. He would know how Yashodamai saw all the universes and planetary systems within the mouth of Krishna during his playful childhood pastimes. And he would also see that there are many millions of Brahmas during the appearance of Lord Krishna in Brahma's daytime. But all these manifestations of the Lord appearing everywhere in his eternal transcendental forms cannot be understood by anyone but the pure devotees who are always engaged in devotional service to the Lord and are fully absorbed in the Lord. The high qualifications of Brahma are also indicated herein. Text 32, purport. Brahma prayed that he might not forget his eternal relationship with the Lord during the course of his material activities. In answer to that prayer, the Lord said that he should not think of existing without a relationship with his omnipotency. The example is given of the fire in wood. The fire kindled in wood is always the same, although the wood may be of different types. Similarly, the bodies within the material creation may be specifically different according to shape and quality, but the spirit souls within them are not different from one another. The quality of fire, warmth, is the same everywhere, and the spiritual spark or part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit is the same in every living being. Thus, the potential of the Lord is distributed all over his creation. The transcendental knowledge alone can save one from the contamination of material illusion. Since the Lord's potential is distributed everywhere, a pure soul or devotee of the Lord can see everything in relationship with the Lord, and therefore he has no affection for the outer coverings. The pure spiritual conception makes him immune to all contamination of material association. The pure devotee never forgets the touch of the Lord in all circumstances. Hare Krishna.
Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, though I understood it, the fire in wood, would you simplify for better understanding?
Yeah. So you burn any wood, it will give you fire and heat. It's the same. And similarly, the soul's quality is identical. They may be in different bodies, and there are 8.4 million different shapes and sizes of the body. Does not matter. The spirit souls within them are not different from one another in terms of the quality. And therefore, in the purport, it says that the quality of fire or the warmth is the same everywhere, whether you burn a nicely cut piece of wood, or you just pick a log from a tree and burn, or you burn branches, does not matter. That's what it's explaining here.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Mother Jija, verse 33 translation.
Verse 33 translation. When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. Hare Krishna.
So Jiva is completely free from the modes in terms of body and senses. That's when he establishes his relation with the Lord. Understands that Krishna is the master, I am the servant, and thus the Jiva can perfect the Dasya Rasa. Srila Prabhupada says, service attitude is the essence of the soul. This is explained many places in Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Srimad Bhagavatam. And devotional service is cultivation. Devotional service is not just some mundane activity. Devotional service is not some mechanical activity for fruitive results. Devotional service should only be done for the pleasure of Krishna. Mother Jija will read verse 33 purport, where the comparison is done with the Gyanis. Mother Jija?
In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that a person whose only desire is to render transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person in any condition of material existence. That service attitude is the Swarupa or real form of the living entity. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also confirms this statement by declaring that the real spiritual form of the living entity is eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord. The Mayavada school shudders at the thought of a service attitude in the living entity, not knowing that in the transcendental world, the service of the Lord is based on transcendental love. Transcendental loving service is never to be compared to the forced service of the material world. In the material world, even if one is under the conception that he is no one's servant, he is still the servant of his senses under the dictation of the material modes. Factually, no one is master here in the material world, and therefore the servants of the senses have a very bad experience of servitude. They shudder at the thought of service because they have no knowledge of the transcendental position. In transcendental loving service, the servitor is as free as the Lord. The Lord is Swarat or fully independent, and the servant is also fully independent or Swarat in the spiritual atmosphere because there is no forced service. There is transcendental loving service is due to spontaneous love. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother unto the son, the friend service unto the friend, or the wife service unto the husband. These reflections of service by friends, parents, or wives are not forced but are due only to love. Here, in this natural world, however, the loving service is only a reflection. The real service or service is Swarupa, is present in the transcendental world in association with the Lord. The very same service is transcendental. Love can be practiced in devotion here. This verse is also applicable to the Jnani school. The enlightened Jnani, when free from all material contaminations, namely the gross and the subtle bodies together with the senses of the material modes of nature, is placed in the supreme and is thus liberated from material bondage. The Jnanis and the devotees are actually in agreement up to the point of liberation from material contamination. But whereas the Jnanis remain pacified on the platform of simple understanding, the devotees develop further spiritual advancement in loving service. The devotees develop a spiritual individuality in their spontaneous service attitude, which is enhanced on and on up to the point of Madhurya Rasa or transcendental loving service reciprocated between the lover and the beloved. Hare Krishna.
So Jnanis remain at the platform of simple understanding, while devotees advance further all the way to loving service, and the advancement is also because they are doing loving service. Questions, comments, realizations on this first subsection?
Prabhuji, would you please enlighten gross and subtle bodies as well as Madhurya Rasa?
gross and subtle body is, so our physical body that we can see is the gross body, and the subtle body is mind, intelligence, and ego. That's the subtle body. Madhurya rasa is one of the 5 rasas. The Madhurya rasa is for somebody who is like Srimati Radharani or like the gopis. They are in the Madhurya rasa to give pleasure to the Lord in conjugal love. So all rasas are equal. It's not that Hanuman in Dasya rasa is saying, okay, I'm not satisfied in Dasya rasa, so I have to grow to Madhurya rasa. It does not work that way. Hanuman is completely satisfied in Dasya rasa, and similarly, Mother Yashoda and Nand Maharaj are completely satisfied in the Vatsalya parental rasa. Same way, gopis, Srimati Radharani, they serve Krishna in the Madhurya rasa.
Thank you.
So part 2, subsection 2 is verses 34 to 40, where title is The Lord's Mercy and Benedictions Offered. In verse number 34, Lord says that expanding service attracts my mercy, and my mercy on you will continually increase. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that pure devotees' desire to expand number of devotees may seem material, but is actually spiritual, because such desire satisfies the Lord. Uncle will read verse 34, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Since you have desired to increase the population innumerably and expand your varieties of service, you shall never be deprived in this matter, because my causeless mercy upon you will always increase for all time. Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord, being cognizant of the facts of particular time, object, and circumstances, always desires to expand the number of devotees of the Lord in various ways. Such expansions of transcendental service may appear to be material to a materialist, but factually they are expansions of the causeless mercy of the Lord towards the devotee. Plans for such activities may appear to be material activities, but they are different in potency, being engaged in the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
So externally may seem material, but wanting to increase the number of devotees is actually spiritual activity, spiritual desire. And Prabhupada says that unless one is empowered by spiritual master, one cannot effectively preach and make many more devotees and followers. Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 35, translation and purport.
Text 35. Hare Krishna. You are the original Rishi, and because your mind is always fixed on me, even though you will be engaged in generating various potency, the vicious mode of passion will never encroach upon you. Purport. The same assurance is given to Brahma in the second canto, chapter 9, verse 36. Being favored by the Lord, Brahma's scheme and plans are all inflammable. If sometimes Brahma is even to be bewildered, as in the 10th canto, he be bewildered by seeing the action of the internal potency. This is also for his future advancement in transcendental service. Arjuna is found to be similarly bewildered, as such bewildered of the pure devotees of the Lord, is specifically meant for their future advancement in knowledge of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji had prayed to be protected from the mode of passion. Hence the Lord says, don't worry, that because your mind will always be fixed on me, although you will do the secondary creation, which involves you to be getting involved with the mode of passion, but by my blessings, the mode of passion will not bind you. And sometimes Brahmaji is also bewildered, as we know from Canto 10, chapter 14. But Brahmaji is Adi Guru. Adi Guru means first Guru. That how the Adi Guru is bewildered and how the Adi Guru is running after his own daughter. So some remove these two pastimes of Brahmaji, that Brahmaji stealing Krishna's cowherd friends and cows, and Brahmaji running after his own daughter from Srimad Bhagavatam, to avoid minimizing Brahmaji's position. But we do not minimize Brahmaji's position and the position of demigods, but we understand that all these pastimes are lessons for us to learn. That even though such exalted personality committing mistakes, therefore we should not be puffed up and we should stay humble. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, I always used to feel like that. And today you have clarified that all the pastimes are lessons for us to learn. Therefore, we should not be puffed up. Thank you.
Yeah, you are correct that the entire Bhagavatam is for us to learn. Very good. Radha Shakti was 36 translation.
Verse 36. Although I am not easily knowable by the conditioned soul, you have known me today, because you know that my personality is not constituted of anything material, and specifically not of the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements.
I mean, we know this, this verse that Krishna says, I cannot be known by any process other than bhakti. Yeah, it is. We know it is very difficult to know Krishna. We just have to follow the bhakti yoga process and wait for an opportune time for the Lord to reveal himself. Because Brahmaji did bhakti yoga, hence Krishna revealed himself. Krishna says that to others, those who are following other path, I do not show my transcendental form. In the purport, Prabhupada explains that Brahmaji appreciated the transcendental form of Krishna. Lord's body is made up of Satchidananda. Lord's body has nothing material. And only bhakti yogis know this fact. Shalini, verse 37 translation.
Hare Krishna, text 37. When you were contemplating whether there was a source to the stem of the lotus of your birth, and you even entered into the stem, you could not trace out anything. But at that time, I manifested my form from within. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna says to Brahma that initially you were searching for me. You went down in the stem, you reached the navel. At that time, I manifested my form from within to make you successful. Because you took my darshan, all success is guaranteed. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, only by bhakti one can see the Lord. By sadhana bhakti, you can remove the anarthas. A very important distinction, I will repeat. That only by bhakti you can see the Lord. By sadhana bhakti, you can remove the anarthas. Shalini, read 37 purport.
Hare Krishna. The personality of Godhead can be experienced only by his causeless mercy, not by mental speculation or with the help of the material senses. Material senses cannot approach the transcendental understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can be appreciated only by submissive devotional service and when he reveals himself before the devotee. Only by love of Godhead can one know God and not otherwise. The personality of Godhead cannot be seen with the material eyes, but he can be seen from within by spiritual eyes opened by the ointment of the love of God. As long as one's spiritual eyes are closed due to the dirty covering of matter, one cannot see the Lord. But when the dirt is removed by the process of devotion service, one can see the Lord without a doubt. Brahma's personal endeavor to see the root of the lotus pipe failed, but when the Lord was satisfied by his penance and devotion, he revealed himself from within with no external endeavor. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, once again, would you please, sorry to repeat, only by bhakti you can see the Lord, correct?
Correct.
And by sadhana bhakti you can remove the
Anarthas. Yeah, so I'll repeat the statement.
anarthas. Thank
That
you.
only by bhakti one can see the Lord, and by sadhana bhakti one can remove the anarthas.
Thank you.
Mother Jija, verse 38 translation.
Text 38. Translation. O Brahma, the prayers that you have chanted, praising the glories of my transcendental activities, the penances you have undertaken to understand me, and your firm faith in me, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy. Hare Krishna.
Nothing can satisfy you, my Lord. We are monkeys with no education. This is what Hanuman and the other monkeys were saying. Still, you develop friendship with us. This is Hanuman and all the monkeys saying to Lord Ram. Why you develop friendship? Simply because we wanted to serve you. And there are similar prayers by Gajendra, Prahlad Maharaj, Kunti Maharani. There are so many prayers. That nothing can satisfy you, but only pure devotional service can satisfy you. And even if you want to pray, still you have to depend on the Lord's mercy. We may sometimes stand in front of Gopinath and may not have prayerful attitude. We forget to offer prayers. So we should offer prayers when I am in front of Gopinath. And we should say, please remind me, please bless me, please empower me so that I can offer prayers. And to offer prayers, we need to have a prayerful mood. Mother Jija, read 38 purport.
Purpose. When a living entity desires to serve the Lord in transcendental loving service, the Lord helps the devotee in many ways as the Chaitya Guru or the spiritual master within. And thus the devotee can perform many wonderful activities beyond material estimation. By the mercy of the Lord, even a layman can compose prayers of the highest spiritual perfection. Such spiritual perfection is not limited by material qualification, but is developed by dint of one's sincere endeavor to render transcendental service. Voluntary endeavor is only qualification for spiritual perfection. Material acquisitions of wealth or education are not considered. Hare Krishna.
Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, what you said, that you should have the mercy of the Lord to pray. I want to confess with you today for other devotees also. Whenever I take nice fruits, before eating, I think that I should offer to Lord Krishna and to thank him for enabling one health point of view to taste it, afford it, and source it. It is because of his blessing. But I forget while eating, in between, I remember that. Then I ask them forgiveness. So it happens what you have today revealed, that we need the blessings from, then only we will be able to remember. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Very good that you do all this offering and try to remember Krishna again and again. But you are correct that we need his mercy for every endeavor. We have discussed that when the jiva comes out of Mahavishnu's womb, when Brahmaji's next day starts, the jiva is actually not remembering his past desires at all, and it's the Lord giving the remembrance to jiva so that jiva can fulfill his desire. So I mean, in my ego, I don't realize that I need the mercy of the Lord. Very good personal example. Thank you for sharing.
Since you said about this question has been lingering in my mind, may I ask you?
Yeah.
So the Lord impregnates jiva in the physical body in the womb. The parent, including me, why we are so committed in the growth of the child, education, welfare, everything. What makes it such a commitment, Prabhuji?
So you mean the commitment in the material world?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Kunti Maharani summarizes the entire material existence in 3 words. Avidya Kama Karma Bhi. It's there in Canto 1, Chapter 8 prayers. It's all because of avidya. Ignorance is the root cause of us being in the material world as well as engage in the material world, thinking that, oh, I'm doing so and so good. So avidya kama karma bhi. Avidya means ignorance, which results in kama. Kama means desire and lust, and karma bhi means fruitive activities. It is avidya. Avidya, ignorance, is the root cause of everything that we are so committed against all this illusory energy. Does that help you?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Mother Chandra Aunty, 39 translation.
Text 39. I am very much pleased by your description of me in terms of my transcendental qualities, which appears mundane to the mundaners. I grant you all benedictions in your desire to glorify all the planets by your activities. Hare Krishna.
The Lord says, I am pleased that you glorify me. You recognize me as controller. Recognize that I do not have material qualities, but I have spiritual qualities. Therefore, I am pleased. Hence, whatever you prayed for, you will achieve. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Brahmaji is also pure devotee in disciplic succession. And Srila Prabhupada says that how Mayavadis are also offering prayers. But the Lord is not satisfied by the prayers of Mayavadis, because Mayavadis have another intention. Because Mayavadis' attitude and consciousness matters. Mayavadis think, right now I am not liberated, hence let me do service. And after liberation, I do not have to do service. Such an attitude, Lord does not accept their service. The Chandranti, verse 39 purport.
Purport. I am very much pleased by your description of me in terms of my transcendental qualities, which appears mundane to the mundaners. I grant you all benedictions of your transcendental qualities, all planets by your activities. Purport. A pure devotee of me, Lord, like Brahma, and those in this line of disciplic succession always desire that the Lord be known by over the universe, by each and every one of the living entities. That desire of the devotee is always blessed by the Lord. The impersonalist sometimes prays for the mercy of the personality of Godhead Narayana as the embodiment of material goodness, but such prayers do not satisfy the Lord, because he is not thereby glorifying the terms of his actual transcendental qualities. The pure devotees of the Lord are always most dear to him, although he is always kind and merciful to all living entities. Here, the word Gunamayam is significant because it indicates the Lord's possessing transcendental qualities. Hare Krishna.
Questions, comments, realizations? Uncle will read verse 40 translation.
Hare Krishna. Verses 40, translation. Any human being who prays like Brahma and who thus worships me shall very soon be blessed with the fulfillment of all his desires. For I am the Lord of all benediction.
So it is not just Brahmaji. Any jiva can get the same blessings. Srila Prabhupada says in one of the Canto 7 lecture that how Narsimhadev blessed Prahlad Maharaj. So we don't have to think that Brahmaji, Prahlad Maharaj are Mahajan, hence they are blessed by the Lord. No. Srila Prabhupada says anyone can be blessed by the Lord. Anyone who chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra means the blessings are already there. Personal touch has already happened, because Krishna's name is not different than Krishna. And Krishna is already on the tongue. Therefore, Krishna has already blessed. If anyone wants Krishna's blessings, Always, then should simply chant always. Uncle, read 40 purport.
40 purport. The prayers offered by Brahma cannot be chanted by anyone who desires to fulfill his own sense gratification. Such prayers can be selected only by a person who wants to satisfy the Lord in his service. The Lord certainly fulfills all desires in regard to transcendental loving service, but he cannot fulfill the whims of non-devotees, even when such casual devotees offer him the best of prayers. Hare Krishna.
So the Lord will fulfill desire based on your karma qualification. Although you may have desired much more, but he will fulfill what you deserve. But for a devotee, Lord will fulfill desires. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that I am not a fool to satisfy devotees' material desires. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I will fulfill the material desires of a devotee in such a way that devotee will never desire again. The last few verses, 41 to 43, is part 2, subsection 3. Title is, I am the dearmost of all, and I am the one to be satisfied. These remaining verses are pretty straightforward verses. Gopal Prabhu, 41 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 41 translation. It is the opinion of expert transcendentalists that the ultimate goal of performing all traditional good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc., is to invoke my satisfaction. Hare Krishna.
So all should do all activities to please me. If one does not have a desire to please the Lord, then it is a waste of time. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that Arjuna did not want to fight. But for the sake of Krishna, Arjuna fought the war. Gopal Prabhu, continue 42 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 42 translation. I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. Hare Krishna.
Read the purport, faster pace.
Hare Krishna. Text 42, purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is the dearest in both the conditioned and liberated states. When a person does not know that the Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is the conditioned state of life. When one knows perfectly well that the Lord is the only dearmost object, he is considered to be liberated. There are degrees of knowing one's relationship with the Lord, depending on the degrees of realization as to why the Supreme Lord is the dearmost object of every living being. The real reason is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita 15.7. Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The living entities are eternally parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. The living entity is called the Atma. The Lord is called the Paramatma. The living entity is called Brahman. The Lord is called the Parabrahman, or is the Parameshwara, Ishvara Parama Krishna. The conditioned soul who do not have self-realization accept the material body as the dearmost. The idea of the dearmost is then spread all over the body, both concentrated and extended. The attachment for one's own body and its extensions like children and relatives is actually developed on the basis of the real living entity. As soon as the real living entity is out of the body, even the body of the most dear son is no longer attractive. Therefore, the living spark or eternal part of the Supreme is the real basis of affection and not the body, because the living entities are all also parts of the whole living entity, that the Supreme Living Entity is the factual basis of affection for all. One who has forgotten the basic principles of his love for everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. The more one is affected by the principles of Maya, the more he is detached from the basic principle of love. One cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in the loving service of the Lord. In the present verse, stress is given to the focusing love upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word kuryat is significant here. This means one must have it. It is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. The influence of Maya is experienced by the part and parcel spiritual entity, but it cannot influence the super soul, the Paramatma. The Mayavadi philosophers, accepting the influence of Maya and the living entity, want to become one with the Paramatma. But because they have no actual love for Paramatma, they remain ever entrapped by the influence of Maya and are unable to approach the vicinity of Paramatma. This inability is due to their lack of affection for the Paramatma. A rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth, and therefore, in spite of his being very rich, his miserly behavior keeps him everlasting a poor man. On the other hand, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can quickly become a rich man, even with a small credit balance. The eyes and the sun are very intimately related because without sunlight, the eyes are unable to see. But the other parts of the body, being attached to the sun as a source of warmth, take more advantage of the sun than do the eyes. Without possessing affection for the sun, the eyes cannot bear the rays of the sun. Or in other words, such eyes have no capacity to understand the utility of the sun's rays. Similarly, the empiric philosophers, despite their theoretical knowledge of Brahman, cannot utilize the mercy of the Supreme Brahman because they lack affection. So many impersonal philosophers remain everlasting under the influence of Maya because although they indulge in theoretical knowledge of Brahman, they do not develop affection for Brahman, nor do they any scope for development of affection because of their defective method. A devotee of the sun god, even though devoid of eyesight, can see the sun god as he is even from this planet, whereas one who is not a devotee of the sun cannot even bear the glaring sunlight. Similarly, the devotional service, even though one is not on the level of Jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. In all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will solve all contending problems. Hare Krishna.
Pretty straightforward. That Krishna says, I am the ultimate, dearest object for everyone. One who does not know this is in the conditional state, and one who understands this is liberated. Radha Shakti, verse 43, translation.
Verse 43. By following my instructions, you can now generate the living entities as before by dint of your complete Vedic wisdom and the body you have directly received from me, the supreme cause of everything.
So Krishna's response is over here in this verse. He says, you will not forget. You will be filled with Vedas. So after instructing Brahmaji like this, Lord departed. Verse number 44 is pretty straightforward verse. Shalini, translation.
Hare Krishna. The sage Maitreya said, after instructing Brahma, the creator of the universe, to expand the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead in his personal form as Narayana disappeared. Hare Krishna.
Questions, comments, realizations. Thus, we have completed. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy.
Prabhuji, Bhagavad Gita 15.7 which it was quoted in that the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts due to conditioned life. They are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Yeah. So 15.7, anybody wants to recite, is a key memorization verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I can try Prabhu.
Yeah.
Mamaivaamsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manasastani indriyani prakriti stani karsati.
Very good. So all jiva are eternal parts and parcels of the Lord. Therefore, he says, Mama eva amsha jiva loke. And they are in the material life and they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So the material world on itself is a place of misery. And the misery is further aggravated with the uncontrolled mind and senses. Therefore, in 15.7, Krishna says, Karsati. Karsati means struggling very hard. So we have discussed this in 15.7 that is it because of the senses I am struggling, or is it that because I am in the material world that's why I'm struggling? So the answer is both. That material world is a place of misery, therefore we are struggling. And the struggling is further aggravated because of the uncontrolled mind and senses. Does that help you?
Thank you.
Very good listening with rapt attention of connecting verses nicely. Homework question 1. Examine the difference between transcendental service and service in the material world. Comes from verse number 33. Next is to read Canto 3, Chapter 10. You might have already done. If not, read Canto 3, Chapter 10 for our next class. Any questions, comments, realizations? Again, was a pretty easy paced class, last two classes. Because the
This
content...
Kuriyat, would you like to explain?
Say that again, please.
Kuriyat, Kuriyat.
Korean? I don't know. Where are you reading that?
You just said in 42.
Verse 42. Okay, if I go verse 42, where does it say the word that you are referring to?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is the second paragraph of text 42 purport.
Page 394. Prabhu.
Trying to find where does it say?
Yeah.
One should do. Prabhu, in the word-to-word translation, is Kuriyat means one should do.
Okay, I see in the purport now. It says the word Kuryat is significant here. This means one must have it. It is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. Let me go back to the verse and see. Let's see what it's saying about Kuryat. Yeah, Ato mai ratim Kuryat. Ratim, it's talking about that one should have more and more attachment to the Lord. Kuryat, the word for word translation is one should have, one should do. And it's what one should do more is the rati. Rati, the rati means the attachment. Ratim. And if you remember Bhishma Dev's prayers from Canto 1, Chapter 9, each of his prayers is asking for Rati. Rati means attachment to the Lord. Does that help you?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, very good. Reading and reading and listening with close attention. Thank you. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just one realization after this particular chapter, doing this particular chapter where Lord Brahma, how he is, in spite of his exalted position, how humble he is, how he's offering prayers, how he's, approaching the Supreme Personality. This is Lord so much for us to learn. And Lord explaining what is to be done, even that, Prabhu. So I don't know, for me, this chapter is very profound, Prabhu.
Okay, very good. Very good realization that yes, that is a very important learning from this chapter, that Brahmaji is pure devotee, such an exalted person. His entire body is made out of intelligence. Almost the entire body is made out of intelligence. Still, he is showing us how to be humble, how to have that service attitude. And it is only that service attitude which pleases the Lord. Very good realization. Thank you for sharing. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.